and welcome back to my channel. My name is Mimi Falco. I do tarot readings here every Saturday morning, Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to be doing a week ahead this week. I did want to let you guys know, if you really love this content, if you love what I do for you guys, and I seriously love meeting you guys and reading your comments, it truly brightens my day. If you do love this content, please do support however you can by liking, subscribing, commenting, sharing is really helpful. And if you think that you could really benefit from a one-on-one session, please do book with me on my website, harveymountainalchemy.com. I love to meet you guys in person. It's truly why I do this channel. This is why I do it here, so that I can meet you guys one-on-one. And if I can't, then I love being able to help in whatever way I can, give whatever support I can through these readings. But as you know, they are all general. And so when I have a one-on-one session with you, when I meet you and I get to sit in your energy and I get to really communicate with your energy, that's where the really beautiful healing happens. So if that's something that you're looking for, please do consider booking a session with me on my website. I do tarot, astrology, numerology, Reiki as well. So I have all of that available. I have plenty of monthly plans available too, which means that essentially you can book a certain amount of tarot or astrology readings a month, and you can also get a crystal candle based off of all of the stuff that we talked about. Getting into the astrology of this week, it's a very watery week. We've got so much going on in the shift from Gemini to Cancer. Even though it's the end of Cancer season, we have Mercury, which was in Gemini, moving into the sign of Cancer. And everything that's in Cancer right now is making trines to Neptune in Pisces. So what I would say, the theme of this week and what you really need to watch out for is making sure that what you're thinking, what you're seeing, what you are being given, how you're perceiving reality right now, to give it a couple extra beats and really give it some extra thought to make sure that what you are feeling is real. Neptune has a really good skill when it comes to deceiving us or kind of painting the picture that it wants us to see. And right now, with everything going on in Cancer and moving into Cancer, making a trine to that Neptune in Pisces, we really could give into how our emotions are making us feel. And so this week it's important to not let our emotions run the show. Acknowledge them, recognize them, let them exist, but don't let them control you. Not to say to control your emotions and completely suppress them, but just to notice what feelings are coming up. Are they coming up for a reason that makes sense, or is it feeling out of the blue and like you're almost emotionally manipulating yourself? There's a lot more going on, obviously, but that's really the major theme of it. If you want to know more about how the week of astrology is affecting you personally, seriously, I urge you to book a transit reading. We can look at what's going on in your life according to astrology and how best to handle those energies. For now, though, I have 3 tarot decks that I want you to pick from. You guys are going to get a single reading from a single deck. And yeah, so you're going to pick your deck and we're going to get started. I'm excited. I'm feeling pretty chill. Let's get started. All right, so pile 1, this is the Tarot of Oppositions deck. Pile 2, the Muse deck, and pile 3, the Light Seers. All right, so pile 1, I've got this deck. It's the Tarot of Oppositions. I actually just purchased this deck. I've been having a lot of fun with it. But essentially what it has is it has 2 depictions of the same card on one card. So we're really going to look at the theme of this week, which I already spoke about. Overall, the theme is sort of illusion, how our emotions might be running the show. The theme for you, this Page of Wands. Look at that. It really comes down to, what is it that you want to do? What actions are you really wanting to take right now? And do you feel fully equipped to take them? I think this week you might get maybe a false sense of security or a false sense of confidence that, yeah, this is the right time. And I urge you to sit back and maybe reinvest or reevaluate exactly why you think right now is the perfect time. Is it simply because you want something to do and you want to just have the feeling of taking action? You want the rush of that action, right? All that fiery energy of wanting to do something and feeling like you are living in a purposeful place. You are living in a purposeful place despite whatever actions you take. So this week, really let yourself, this is what I mean by 2 different depictions of it, but this is the depiction that's really shining here, is there's so much going on behind the curtain. And for you, all you're seeing is what's right in front of you. But there's something happening behind that you don't need to be aware of, but that you need to be aware is happening. You don't need to know exactly what's going on. So that sense of uncertainty, or of the lack of knowing what's coming, that's okay. It's about the surrendering to knowing that you don't know what's going to happen and that you don't have to be in control of what's going to happen. That taking action almost feels like you're doing it just so that you feel like you have some semblance of control. And there's something else at play behind closed doors that you don't really need to know the details of, but that you are taken care of, and that this fast route isn't exactly the most beneficial route. So let's look at a little bit at what the most beneficial route is for you when we're looking at the themes of this week. This guy, the Star. Oh, I really feel like one of these guys. The Sun. Yeah, what's really most beneficial for you? Look at that. It's literally night and day. It's really important for you to live in the cycles that you're being given right now. Almost as though like you're being told your schedule. You're being told what you're supposed to be doing. And there's a part of you that wants to be in control and wants to be in charge of what you're doing. Right now, it's important for you to sit in the cycles. Night is night, day is day. You don't have to reinvent the wheel of the 24-hour cycle. You also don't have to completely follow a 24-hour cycle, right? Maybe you're feeling like kind of out of sorts because you are trying to fit into this specific kind of system or schedule or whatever. Maybe you have a 3-day cycle. Right? It's not about feeding into the systemic cycle that you're being given all the time, but it is about settling into a habit, settling into a pattern, and knowing that you don't have to change things up all the time. You don't have to, as a client would say, have itchy feet about what you're supposed to be doing next. Oh, I've been here for too long. That means I have to move. I have to change. I have to completely uproot everything, right? These aren't the tower. You're not supposed to be uprooting everything right now. Right now, you're supposed to be accepting that daytime is daytime and nighttime is nighttime, and to take on the roles of those energies when they come along. And so if you are being given some sort of new work schedule this week, to go with it rather than going against the grain. Oh, I almost pulled from a different deck, so we're going to keep with this. What's the best way to bring you back to center? Because I feel like that's really important. I'm feeling... It's not even mine though, but it's feeling uncentered right now. Like you don't know where you're supposed to be going, which way you're supposed to be leaning. So the best way to keep you centered, you got the Queen of Swords. Look at that. You can either look at what's being handed to you or you can ignore it. But which one is really what's best for you? If you're being handed something and you kind of there's some sort of resistance to it, or you're feeling pressured to take it but don't really want to, what is it that you're not trying to look at? Why is it that you're not taking what is essentially an opportunity? This week, I feel like you are being given opportunities, but almost like your ego is getting in the way, right? This Page of Wands, but I want to do it. This page is naive. He doesn't really know what he's doing, but he wants to do it because he wants to feel like he accomplished something rather than accepting the help of whatever's behind those closed doors, right? So at some point this week, ask yourself, why am I not accepting what is an opportunity? You're being given a gift. Why don't you want that gift? Something to think about. I don't have the answer for that. I could look at it, but I think a lot of you would have different answers. So let's see. Kind of a general message. You got the 8 of Wands and the 7 of Wands. I feel like if you do take the action, regardless of, whatever these cards say, if you decide to move forward and take action, I think that you would get to the same place that you would had you not taken action, and there are more hurdles to jump. There's more challenge. Whereas if you accept the help that's being given to you, that's behind these closed doors, that is kind of pushing you in the same direction, there's almost an easier flow of things. And so maybe this week, all of that water that's going on, going into Cancer, being trine Neptune, it is about surrendering to that water. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go listen to the intro. I do talk about the astrology of this week. But I think it's important for you to surrender into the water, not surrender into the deception or the illusion that Neptune might be giving. But the flip side of Neptune is that it's also offering spiritual support. It's offering emotional support. It's not even support, but it's offering the opportunity to be emotional. That's what this week is really giving you. If it's giving you the opportunity to lash out, yes, but it's also giving you the opportunity to hold space for the emotions that are causing you to lash out, right? So let this week be what it is. Surrender to the fact that you are going to be emotional this week, that you have to move with the cycle, with the schedule you're given, rather than going against the grain simply because your ego wants you to be the one in control. That's what's really coming through. All right, pile one, I hope that was helpful. I'm sending you a lot of love. Please let me know in the comments what is going on, because I feel like there's a lot of like power games or need for control that needs to be played out, that needs to be understood a little bit more. So I will see you guys next time. Bye. All right, pile two, I've got your Muse deck. I love this one. So classic, by Chris Ann. She also made the Light Seers. And what's the other one she made? Oh, never mind. She got a card coming out. So theme of the week, Four of Inspiration. Curious Creatures, that's the other deck she made. Four of Inspiration, the theme of this week. Finding structure in a support system. Finding other people that you feel safe with. And that's very Cancerian, is the desire to feel safe, where, you know, maybe Mercury in Gemini was like, who cares? Like, I'm just here to have a good time and chat and whatever, connect. But Cancer wants connection on a safe level, feeling protected, maybe feeling protective as well, which means there might be resistance to connection with others. But really there's like this core foundational support system that you either have or that you are seeking throughout this week. Let's see where we can find the most beneficial support throughout the week. The Ace of Pentacles. Oh, you already know. And if you think you don't know, it's maybe because you're trying to hide from it. You know who your support system is. And for some of you, it might be you, but you don't trust your own inner voice right now. For some of you, it might be those that you have, learned, or you've really like connected with over the last few years, or the last like change in your life. You really made some connections with people that understand that change you're going through. It's time to let yourself let go of some of that weight. I've never felt this about this card, but the flowers and the plants on her feels like they're weighing her down too much, right? It's almost like too earthy for her. She's too grounded. You need support system that's going to lift you up. This is literally, they're levitating here. It's a Wands card. It's about optimism and joy and drive and excitement and movement. But for you, you might just be feeling a little too grounded. So using that Neptune energy to bring you up, although Neptune can also weigh us down a little bit because it can be overly emotional. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go listen to the intro. I talk about the astrology of this week. But essentially what Neptune can do is it can feed us this image, right? This beautiful image of something that we would love to happen. But maybe you're feeling a little too grounded. I'm actually getting a different message completely about the watery energy. Is you're almost bringing the expectations too low, that you need to raise your expectations. You need to dream a little bit, feed into the illusion that Neptune is giving you. Let yourself get lost in a dream for a minute, not for the whole week, but just somewhere. Let yourself be in a safe space so that you can express yourself and express what it is that you're dreaming of. What is it that you want right now? Even if it seems far-fetched, right? I want to be the next big pop star, right? Saying something that feels so silly, just saying it out loud with the people that you feel safest with. And it doesn't mean anything has to come from it. It just means that you can loosen the tethers a little bit, right? You're so grounded to what's realistic, and having low expectations is good. It's definitely good, because if you have too high of expectations, you're kind of living in this romanticized, like idealized world, and you're more set up for disappointment that way. But I think you're almost too rooted in that you really just expect to be disappointed. That's what your expectation is. So maybe let yourself dream a little bit. Let yourself lighten up a little bit. Even with all this Cancer going on, we are going into Leo season. So maybe for you, it's gearing up for that Leo season, that Leo fun energy, dynamic, friendly, affable, gregarious, laughing, right? Like all of these fun energies. Let yourself dream a little bit. You might be a little too grounded. I feel like there's a lot of Capricorn and Taurus in there right now. That's just feeling like, no, this is what's realistic. This is my goal. So let's see how best to lighten up this week. The 7 of Inspiration, 7 of Wands. Yeah, I mean, this literally is just reiterating what I had already said, which was breaking kind of the barrier, the mental barrier of what it is in your head that you think is realistic, that is possible. Letting yourself dream of the impossible just for a minute, just to see what it would feel like. And then you might realize, oh, wait, you know, it's not actually as impossible as I thought it was. Letting yourself dream. Optimism. I don't know. That's like the main message that's coming through here. I'm going to pick a couple more cards. Let's see. Oh man, what is just like the optimistic message you need to hear right now? The 9 of Cups and the 7 of Pentacles. What you feel way deep down, what you're really feeling, and that feeling that comes up when you do let yourself dream a little bit, that is so valuable. That is reconnecting with your inner child, that inner child that wanted to be a pop star one day. You know, maybe you don't have to want to be a pop star, but at some point you had a really big dream and now you have, you know, lowered the expectation, which is good. I'm always a proponent of that. But there's a part of you that, you know, feels a little crushed, that inner child. Let your inner child dream a little bit this week. That's what Neptune is all about. It's just like flowing dreams, whatever. It doesn't have to be reality. Let yourself live in a different reality this week. That's my sage advice. I think a lot of personal worth is tied to the fact that we have low expectations. And, you know, I'm still trying to find exactly the right wording because it's okay to have low expectations, but that's it. I digress. I've said that multiple times already. But there's something about your personal self-worth, about how valuable you find yourself to be, and also how valuable you find your emotions to be. I think it's important for you to reconnect with some of your, I don't know, more deeper emotions that like just feel like you have pushed them away because they haven't been important enough. What you're feeling is important right now. Let it come up. Let it exist. Does it have to control you? No, right? That goes back to what I said in the intro, that all of this energy doesn't have to control you, but it's healthiest if you just observe that it is existing. All right, and let's see, what is the best approach to this week that you could have? Oh, well, we'll start with this, yes, Ace of Cups. Be open to whatever is coming through. Don't expect, just allow. That's really what's happening. All right, pile 2, I'm sending you a lot of love, a lot of love, and I will see you guys next time. Bye. All right, so pile 3, I have got your Light Seers deck here by Chris Ann. Love this deck. One of my classics. So let's see what the theme of this week is for you. If you didn't listen to the intro, I would definitely urge you to, because I have a lot of information about the astrology of this week. Not a lot of information, but enough that gives you some context. So the major theme of this week. Oh boy, you just got so many cards. But what I'm going to do is go with the top ones that are really coming up. Oh, 4. There are 4. So we're going to read those. Starting with these 2. You got Justice and the 3 of Cups. What is the image that you are curating so that people perceive you the way you want to be perceived? Why do you want people to see you in a way that is not the most authentic to who you are? Those are a lot of big questions. But it feels like it's doing a disservice to you to try and deceive other people. And I'm not saying that you're being manipulative or like, that this deception is rooted in malintent, but it just seems like there is definitely Neptune being at play here saying, okay, I want them to see something different from what is true. There's something about how people are perceiving you right now that's really just rubbing you the wrong way. That you feel like it's not fair to you that people are seeing you a way that isn't the most authentic to you. And you know, the flip side of that is that you're trying to be something, or you're trying to show yourself as someone that you aren't. And that also is not doing a service to you, because it's ultimately you're gonna burn out from that. And that leads me to this 10 of Wands and 8 of Cups. It's time to step away from the burden of doing other people's work for them. I think almost like you are trying to be this version of yourself that is simplified so that you don't have to explain yourself to other people. And that's you taking on the work of other people perceiving you. It's very convoluted, and I hope you're following. I hope I'm making sense so that you can follow. But it's almost like you're taking on the work of other people so that they don't have to ask questions about you. There's certain parts about your identity that you don't show because it makes you more complicated, and it makes it more difficult for people to get to know you. And I think it's time to kind of let that go and release that, because that is coming from a place of either trauma or fear that people will think you're too complicated, you're too emotional, you're too much, you're not easy. Why do you want to be simple? You aren't simple. Nobody is simple. So maybe what this week is giving you is the opportunity to be those more nuanced parts of yourself that you don't let shine as much. To be the independent, strong woman who also is at the beck and call of her toddler child, right? You can be both at the same time. You can be brave and fierce, and you can be vulnerable and codependent. Those are just the examples that are coming to me. But there's multiple other ways that we are hypocritical within ourselves, right? I mean, I think about, like, in astrology, the aversion tactic or whatever, and it's not any sort of technical term, but like for me, for example, I'm an Aries sun and I'm a Taurus moon. Those two are in aversion to each other. They're so different from each other, right? They what's the word? They, like the opposite of complement. They contradict each other. They're so different from each other. That means I contradict myself constantly. I can be one thing and I can be another thing at the same time, even though they totally are not the same. They're not parallel to each other. And so allowing your own inner polarities, your own inner contradictions, and your own self-hypocrisy to come through a little bit. And instead of being like, oh, that's a weakness, and that means I'm not, I'm not certain, I'm not stable, I'm not sure, I'm not reliable. That's a big one. You can be multiple traits. You can be multiple qualities. We are also complicated. We are also complex. And there's a part of you that you are trying to just make look pretty and simple and easy for other people to digest. And that is not fair to them. It's not fair to you. And it's not fair to your power, to your skill, to the complexity that is you. So those are the 4 cards that really popped out. I think we're going to keep it pretty short, but I'm going to pull a couple more cards on, what is the message that you need this week to really show those nuanced parts of yourself. Yeah, a lot of sword energy. You got the King of Swords and the Page of Swords. That the idea of showing these more complex versions of you, or complex qualities, or the own like inner polarities within you, you then feel like you have to stand very confident in your belief in self. And you might not be feeling very confident in your belief in self right now. You might be feeling very lost or directionless or purposeless or confused about who you are, and that's okay too. So I think the message for you throughout this week is it's okay that you don't understand why you can be independent and codependent at the same time. It's okay that you don't understand how you need alone time, but that you crave social interaction, right? You can have both at the same time, and you don't have to completely know the balance right now. The first step is just acknowledging that there is something to balance. And I do think that relationships came up a lot because of this 3 of Cups, because it was all about how other people are perceiving you. That's why independent, codependent, that stuff is really coming up. But it's the idea that if you have marketed yourself, right? If you have curated your image so that people see you as very independent, you want to be reliably independent. So then if you show that you sometimes have codependent tendencies, or that you need other people, or you seek safety and nurture in other people, you might see that as a vulnerability. But, you know, insert whatever the contradiction is for you. You might see that as a vulnerability, when really it's a power for you to say, actually, I can be both. I could be two, right? I mean, I think about myself, I'm white, but I'm also Latina, you know, like, and I could be both. And it's confusing sometimes. I get lost in it. I don't really know how it works. And that's just what it is. You know, you find the balance as you go, and the balance changes, right? What is the word that's like the middle of the scale? I can't remember, but the philtrum, I don't know. But that gauge on how to balance those pieces of you, that's going to change throughout life as you grow, as you evolve. And so to simply accept that balance is a constant game. You don't find balance and then you're done, right? We're here to be ourselves, to be authentically ourselves in all of those nuances. So really, you don't have a lot going on this week, except just like that homework to think about your own inner contradictions. Yeah, pile 3, this has given me a lot to think about. I really love this. And yeah, I feel like that was sort of for me too. So thank you so much, and I will see you next time. Bye.